Hello and welcome to SoftPeak. In today's edition, we will talk about video and how to manage various video settings and how we can create video and how we can take a governance of the video we have. This is, of course, SoftPeak, the place where we try to work smarter, to be more effective with our work, and to give us more time to be able to do more things. So we focus on digital literacy, artificial intelligence, and also democratization of development of various software pieces. So looking into my Microsoft 365 tenant here again, we can see that we have something called Microsoft Stream here under the apps section. We can see that we have a block here where we see Microsoft Stream. If I click this one, it will open up the Microsoft Stream kind of portal, or where we can see that there is two different types of stream, one being the classical stream and also the new stream on SharePoint. If I now were to click on this button here and I open up the classical experience of SharePoint, I get an error because this tenant is a new one. Older tenants that's been around for a while know this stream from the classical experience. But for newer tenants, we only have this experience of having a stream on modern SharePoint. So going back to the Stream portal here, you can think about the Stream portal as a YouTube kind of portal, but for your organization, where anyone can upload video content, and you can record content and create various playlists of content that you can send to users so they can see something specific. We can also hit this record. So inside Stream, we now have the possibility to use the record. As you can see here me on my screen, hello there. You can see me now in my screen, and I can use this recording feature to be able to record the screen. And I can also use various backdrops like this. If I want to have like really fancy backdrops, I can have that in my recording. So maybe I want to have something really cool like this, and maybe I want to hit this this recording button. I want to say something really important, like blah, 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 I'm very important, blah, blah, like that. I can do that, and I can record any video that I want to have, and I can also record the screen if I want to. There's a couple of other cool things you can do here as well. I can have like a been able to draw on the screen like that, and I can do stuff like that. I can add stickers. Let's say I want to add cool stickers to my video. I can do that, of course, as well. So it's pretty good tool. And when I've kind of finished with my recording, if I want to do a new recording and I want to change something and I want to add and explain something and I want to do certain things, maybe I want to add a cool frame here. Just like that. I can then press this review and I can listen to it. Blah, 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 I'm very important. Blah, blah. Do a new recording and I want to change something. And I don't think you maybe hear now the recording because it's on a different device. But you can see here we have two segments here where I can manage the clip and I can trim the clip. I can, for example, cut out the clip and I can do changes to the clip like that. And I can confirm and making it a bit shorter maybe. Once I'm finished with this, I can press this finish button. It's preparing my video. It's uploading into a format called WebM. Once the recording has finished uploading itself into Microsoft Stream, we can see that we have a bunch of options inside Microsoft Stream where we can add thumbnails, we can add descriptions and captions, and we can divide it into various chapters. And we can, of course, allow for comments. So anyone in the organization can use comments, and we can also use really fancy feature when it comes to noise suppression to be able to not have this kind of like bad sounding audio. So it's a good thing that I can generate the transcript here. I think this one is pretty cool because then I can get, and I can, if I have a like premium licensing in Microsoft 365, I can also search for the transcript within the transcript, so it can immediately jump into a certain section within the video. So once it's finished creating the transcript, I can hide the settings and I can click on the transcript and I can see what I've been saying. And of course I can change this and edit this, and I can work with this one as well. I can work with this in any other file that we have within Microsoft 365, because this is on SharePoint or OneDrive, depending on where I recorded it. It will end up in a SharePoint environment, so we can use all of the metadata and the search possibilities inside there. So if I now switch back to my stream portal, now I can see I have a little video here, a recording video. I can of course click with this one and I can share it, and I can use it in various different scenarios. I can add it to a list maybe, or I can add it to my home site in SharePoint. So if I click on this logo here, I can then add a section here. Maybe I want to use a specific web part and I want to add a video file. I can search for video. I can see that we have tons of different files and video and highlighted content, tons of supporting things with video. If I click this file one, I should be able to find my recording here somewhere. This is the recording. It's in my OneDrive, so I can select the recording and I press yes. I want to include it, and then I can republish it. And then immediately I have this recording I just created on the intranet starting page like this, so anyone can kind of click and see this awesome recording that I just created. So having videos like this on the internet, that's always good to be able to show videos and explain things in a better way. I don't think that the most kind of common scenario when you encounter video is actually when you use Microsoft Teams. So inside Microsoft Teams, you can start up a meeting and you can schedule meetings, and you can have various meetings and seminars and webinars and stuff like that inside Teams as well. But you can also start a quick meeting just by clicking the button here. So I can start a meeting and just say I want to start a meeting. I can then use the video camera here as well, and I can use the effects again, and I can have a different effect maybe this time, and I can add certain stuff to this experience, and I can of course add a filters on top of that as well. So I can just start a meeting in general. It will just start a meeting immediately. When I have a meeting like this, of course, now I am the only person in this meeting. I can, of course, record this meeting as well. So I can click this record. I need to remove this, and I can click this record, and I can start recording this meeting. I can say, hello again, it's me, Henrik here. I'm trying to showcase a couple of scenarios where we can work with the video more effectively, and we can become more smarter in our digital experience and be more dexterous in the way that we approach things. And when I'm finished with this kind of meeting, I can just leave the meeting, and the meeting recording here will then be stored and uploaded. It will be managed with inside Teams. So eventually it will come into this Teams meeting. The recording will end up in here. So if I now click on the file section here, we have this new folder that's been created in the documents general folder for this channel. It's called recordings. Inside here I can see the video I just created. So I can click on this one, and I can do anything I want basically with this one. I can share it, I can download it, and I can open it up inside SharePoint. So I can open it up in SharePoint like this. Now we see we have a different kind of file ending for this one. It's called MP4. It's a different format, file format. A good understanding to have is to understand the various video file formats that's out there. There is a bunch of different types of formats that we can use for different purposes and different kind of intent. So maybe if we want to have a really small animation, maybe we can use a GIF animation for that. If we want to have a more of a proper video file, I do think that the MP4 format is probably the one that most organizations use for their video format. But there's tons of other formats as well that can be useful in certain scenarios. So if we click this comparison chart, we can see some kind of understanding of when to use certain kind of formats, and if it's proprietary licensing format and so on. For some certain kind of video files, you need to have an encoder to be able to decode it, to understand how it's rendering and how it's working. Another kind of good understanding to have is the display resolution, how the user can see the resolution. Because like looking at this image here, you can see that there's tons of different resolution types that we can use for various scenarios. I think that the most standard one today is to have the full HD 1920 by 1080. That's kind of the standard kind of format that we want to use. But for lower end devices, it might be 720p. That's the most common one. And for more high end, maybe go up to 4K scenarios for that. But I think that if we scroll down a little bit to this page, we can see here the current standards. This is the most commonly used standards out there. So we can see that we have, for example, a 720p. That's a standard. That's pretty common. 1080p. That's probably the most used standard. So it's by 1920 by 1080 progressive scan. It's standard full HD typically when you have it. But there is also a growing kind of market with devices supporting up to 4K. If you use a 4K, then you can downscale your video and you can use it for various types of format. Because if you look at the trends when it comes to TikTok and YouTube Shorts and stuff like that, you put it on a vertical rather than a horizontal kind of view, then maybe you want to use your recordings and your videos for multiple different purposes. So now if I open up my videos folder in Windows here, I can see my recording, and of course I can open it. It opens up in the default player, which is the media player for this scenario. And I can use the media player to be able to showcase certain videos, and I can increase the speed. But there's also a possibility to edit it with something called Clipchamp. If I click this Clipchamp, it will open up an application called Clipchamp within Windows. It will require me to log in with a Microsoft account, and this is not the same as the business account. This is a Microsoft account for like a personal account or a family account, or I can continue just with my email. So now when I kind of approve this process by adding my email here, and I kind of step through, and they wanted some more information on my age and stuff. Weird. But anyway, inside here, I can now do a bunch of things. I can bundle together several different videos. I can work with the effects, and I can add templates. And even from here, I can do additional recording, and I can change the format I want to use for the video recording. So like we can see here up in the export, we can see that we can have 720p or 1080p, or we have this kind of diamond. We need to upgrade to be able to do it in 4K media. So for me to be able to export this, I need a premium license dedicated for this. And of course, I can also add various stuff. Like you see on top here, I can add text on top of it. Maybe I will have this groovy kind of text. I will just add it here. And I can work with this, and I can say it's good that it sounds groovy, so we can put this somewhere. If I now move with the marker here, I can see I can change the position of this kind of groovy text like that. I can, of course, change the size if I want to, and I can have the primary colors into something other than it was there. So I can do various cool things here. I can also add like music, background music. Maybe we can have something free for use. We just take the first one here and just press add, and we just add this kind of music section, and we had this groovy. We put it all over the video like that. You see that the movie is, the sound of this video is longer than the video. We can of course scroll to the end here, and we can just drag it back to the end and just say we don't want to have it. We want to have it exactly the same as this one. There's possibilities of using, instead of dragging, we can also use this kind of split thing. So we just split it, and then we can just delete the other one. It's probably faster to edit in that way. And we can of course add various types of other videos or things that we have when we want to do this. And when we're finished, we can export it, and maybe we can use this high quality export. We can save it on various locations. So it's creating the video, and this is creating the video, I think partly in the cloud as well. So maybe we should be a bit careful, let's say, on when we use certain applications for video editing, because this can be organizational sensitive data that we have in here, so we don't want to expose our organizational data with some other non-supported places. So we export it maybe to, I don't know, TikTok maybe, or something like that when it's company data. So that's one of the reasons we want to have it inside Microsoft Stream. So now if I click this up, you can see here we now have an additional video. It's stored in the downloads folder, it's exporting it to the downloads folder. We can see the difference here. And now here's some really nice music, and I can see this kind of groovy explanation that I just created. So depending on your use case, if you want to use it for personal use, then I can recommend other tools. But if you're more into an enterprise, I would recommend other tools like DaVinci Resolve, Premiere Pro, or if you're on a Mac, maybe you should use Final Cut, or tools like a proper enterprise grade kind of tooling. So for this scenario, I will go ahead and show another kind of tool that's connected to the TikToks from the makers of TikTok that they created. It's a tool that called CapCut. It's a really nice kind of video editing tool with lots of AI functionalities in it. That's really cool to be able to use, to be able to create those really like fancy kind of TikTok shorter form in a vertical format that you can use. So it has tons of different features, like for example removal of background, scaling up images, and correction of colors, and restoration of older images. Tons of different things that it has that makes it pretty unique and pretty useful. So I've installed it here. You can download it. It's supporting tons of different places where you can download, and it's of course a mobile edition to this as well. So this is the desktop experience that I will show here. So I can sign in. If I am not signed in, I think I get a watermark on my exports, but that's fine for this scenario. So you can of course sign up to this account as well. So if I click this new button, I see a pretty nice interface for this. It gives me a brief tutorial here, so we can import material. We can drag and drop a video like that and drag it down to this. And when I've done that, I can click on the effects folder, and I can drag the effect I want to have to the timeline, so I can get an effect like that. I can press play to see a preview. That's always nice. Then I can export the video from here. I can do an export up here into this. So what I can do now, there's a bunch of cool things within CapCut that I can use. So let's say I want to open up my OneDrive folder here somewhere. From my OneDrive folder, I have this recording that I just created previously here with the WebM format. I can of course open it up. I can just drag and drop it into here. Then I have it here. I can remove this demo example with the effect. And when I have this video in here, I can of course play it. I hear that it's not the best audio. It's not a proper microphone. It's a webcam microphone, so it's a pretty low quality. What I can actually do that's pretty cool inside CapCut is that I can click on the audio, and I can use the noise reduction, and I can reduce any background noise. I can also use this video effect, and I can add it and make it sound like a robot, for example. I'm not sure if you hear, but it sounds like a robot in the background, and I will probably export this as well, so you can have a look at in the other one. So I think a couple of cool things that you can also do here is that you can change your tone and your volume so it sounds louder, because typically what you want to do in certain scenarios, you want to have like a proper sound. I think in many cases, when it comes to video, I think the sound is more important than the actual quality of the image. Because if you think about it, if you look at the video and it has really poor video, but the sound is awesome, you still think that it's pretty okay. But if it's the reverse, if it's a really good video, the graphics, but the sound is horrible, then you can't really watch it, at least not me. So I do think it's worth spending an extra amount of time to be able to work with the sound. I also think that working with video and recordings should be fun. So I do think this CapCut makes it really fun, because there's tons of effects and filters that you can kind of work with, and you can change things and you can experiment how you want to look, and maybe you want to add really cool kind of stuff to your video. So you can work with this and kind of find your kind of style or niche. And I can also, let's say I want to have the edges glow a little bit, and I want to add a filter to this. Maybe I want to have this kind of cool night vision kind of style. And I can basically have some fun when I'm working with this kind of video. And of course I can add text overlays, and I can add stickers. But especially when you work with audio, you should always do a copyright check when you work with audio. Even if it's inside your organization, you shouldn't have like copyrighted material in your videos, because you don't really know where they will end up. There's always a good idea to maybe add a couple of stickers to make it more interesting in certain sections. When you say something important, maybe you want to clarify it, and maybe you want to have some kind of text overlay that you can have for this. So you can have a automatic caption. Maybe that's a really cool feature that we have inside this tool called CapCut, but also there's this other tools as well that has really fancy stuff like this. So we can have like a transcript that we can have on top of this as well. So now I'm using this robotic voice, and I have this really nice kind of like it's kind of like picking up what I'm trying to say here. So it's giving me, I can see here, maybe I shouldn't have this maybe on top of the other one, so maybe I will stop this before. So something like that. You can do smaller changes like this. When you're happy with your video, you can of course export it. And if you use this tool, CapCut, then I recommend that you sign up. It's still free, but then you can you don't have to have the watermarks on the video when I hit this export. And of course I can see the resolution here. I can see various formats like we discussed, and I can also have the video format. I can choose what type of format I want to use. Let's say I want to use MP4, that's a good one. And then I can hit this export, so it will download it to my desktop. And once I finished, I can go back in here and I can replace the old one I had here on my internet starting page, and I can republish it. And then I can see the nice video I just created here on using TikTok with a robotic voice, and I can have this instead with some fancy graphics all over the place, and improved sound as well. I think that's very important. So there is a bunch of tools out there that's really good for editing video and managing video, but I think I want to highlight another one, a really nice tool called Descript. So Descript is it's an AI tool that can work with video in completely new ways. So for example, we can have this product tour of Descript, how it actually works. We can of course download it and demo it, but I think this kind of tutorial really proves a point as well. So it looks like this. It's a desktop application, but it's using the web as well, the cloud, in order to do certain things. So I can work with video using text. So I can highlight text, and I can have various scenes like this. So I can have in the scenes, I can do animations and text, and I can also do the text overlays, and I can change something. For example, in my series here, in SoftPeak series, I do a bunch of ums and ums and stuff like that. I can go in here and using Descript to transcribe my entire video, and then I can use Descript to also remove the ums and ums just by removing it inside the text, and it will automatically adjust the video. And there's also a feature called overdub inside the Descript that we can use to be able to change a word. Let's say I change a word into something else, then I can of course change it as well. So here I installed Descript on this computer, and I can do a bunch of things here. I've started a project already called SoftPeak, and here I can choose to upload a file, and I can transcribe the file, and I can work out of that. Or I can hit this record feature. I can even start to write immediately if I want to. So let's experiment with this recording features. We will have a window here saying hi to me. Hello, everyone. So Inside here, I can just choose to just have the audio. If I want to do a podcast, that's really handy. But if I want to do a video, maybe I want to have the camera on, or I can even have screen sharing. So I have a pretty basic setup here. I use a standardized webcam, and the sound quality is not awesome for this, but I will work with it a little bit. And this is typically the scenario that we have. So I can record into a transcript like this, and it will have a counter like that. So I will say, hello and welcome to SoftPeak. In today's edition, we will have a look at the Descript, which is an awesome tool that leverages the power of AI to create video in completely new ways, where I can actually use text and I can remove text and add text like ums and stuff like that. And I can remove it immediately. And I can also use a feature called overdub that I can use to write additional text. If I say something wrong several times, maybe I can change that into something else into the video immediately afterwards here. And I can also use the enhanced feature of something called a sound studio to improve the audio of this little video. So with that, I thank you so much for watching. Until next time, stay safe. So like you saw here, it's adding the transcript here. You can see that it's kind of like creating this dotted lines below where I do the repeat of certain words. So I can go in here and I can of course listen. So I would say, and I hear that the sound is not too good. So I can see here, so maybe I shouldn't have so many so's, and I can remove the oohs just like that by hitting it. And see, we see something wrong several times. I can remove this immediately like that. So I will just have it, and I can remove the and I can have the else. Just remove it like that. So I can tidy up my video like this. So I can see now it's creating a pretty good video. But the sound quality is still not awesome. I can hit this sound studio button. It's button here. It will analyze, using AI to analyze the sound quality and try and enhance my voice and the sound of my voice. So when the sound studio is doing its magic, the improved sound will be there, of course. And I can, of course, increase the volume if I want to sound louder or more into the detail. I can change the settings here and I can create additional stuff. There's a couple of other buttons up here. I can add text. For example, if I want to add the captions to this, I can hit this one and I can immediately have captions. So it's showing what I'm saying here. And this is a really cool thing to have, especially if you want to do the short format video. And you can also add additional stuff like waveforms. So I can have a waveform maybe up here somewhere where I can show like sound. We can see how I'm sounding, and this is nice to have a feature as well, to be able to visualize your sound a little bit more. Another really cool feature is this feature called overdub, and we can use it here as an example to replace a certain text. And let's say I wanted to say something else, but I don't want to do a completely new re-recording. I can use this overdub feature, and I can add an overdub voice here. So I can use stack voices, or I can record my own voice and have a digital voice sounding really much like me in this scenario. So I can use this to be able to change something. So if I do change something here, I want to call it super dub instead of having overdub. Let's call it super dub 2. Let's just fake it. So we change it into super dub. It will actually replace this section within the video with a AI text-to-speech kind of voice when it's using my recorded voice to be able to replace this. So let's have a listen here. Let's see when we have it there. feature called SuperDub 2 that I can use. It sounds pretty seamless. If you didn't know that I changed it into overdub to SuperDub 2, you would think that it was there. So we can also add like fake text stuff I didn't say at all and use the overdub feature for that as well. So we can add certain sections when I actually use my digital voice instead of the real voice I'm using here. So this is tons of possibilities to this kind of tooling. It's awesome new way of working with video. So I would say hello and welcome to SoftPeak. In today's edition, we will have a look at the Descript, which is an awesome tool that leverages the power of AI to create video in completely new ways, where I can actually use text and I can remove text and add text like ums and stuff like that. And I can remove it immediately. And I can also use a feature called SuperDub 2 that I can use to write additional text. If I say something wrong several times, maybe I can change that into something else into the video immediately afterwards here. And I can also use the enhanced feature or something called a sound studio to improve the audio of this little video. So with that, I thank you so much for watching. Until next time, stay safe. So with that, I thank you so much for listening in to me today with this interesting discussion around the video and how we can be more effective and smart about how we work with the video and leverage the modern tools and AI features out there to be more digital dexterous in the way that we work with the tools, and also how we can democratize and share the tools and be more effective and be our own kind of autonomous digital entity and augment with the digital intelligences out there. So if you're interested in this, if you think this was a good video for you and you liked it, then you can hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. You can also subscribe to my newsletter up here in softpeak.com. In the future, maybe we will send out notifications and emails around that as well. So again, I thank you so much for listening in to me today. And until next time, stay safe.